Director Bong Joon-ho's film Parasite depicts the story of a disadvantaged family and their journey to advance in South Korea's social hierarchy. However, owing to societal pressures, greed damages their morals as they grow selfish and narcissistic under the influence of their employers, the Park's higher-class family. Bong emphasizes how a societal divide can cause an influx of gluttony and egotistical behavior due to a pressure to climb up the communal ladder. Director Bong criticizes the capitalist structure through the lower class and their persistent optimism despite their negative circumstances. Throughout Parasite, the lower class are portrayed as extremely vulnerable as they struggle to survive due to their social status. A demonstration of this vulnerability is shown through mise-en-scène in the first scene in the film, as the shot is taken from below street level, concentrating viewers' attention to the dirty socks of the residents. This shot demonstrates how the Kims are extremely low within the social hierarchy and how consequently they fail to progress with the rest of society. This idea of hopelessness is also emphasized in the scene where Min convinces Kiwi to tutor Da Hai. What about your university friends? Why ask a loser like me? This use of a rhetorical question emphasizes the impact of social separation and how it can cause a lower class family to lose confidence within themselves. The Kim family are constantly portrayed as social outcasts, as not only do they live in a very isolated area as they are beneath everyone, but they are also treated as if they are lesser in society. This is shown through the low-angle shot of the Kim family watching the man urinate near their house. This shot shows how the Kims are completely ignored within the current societal structure. Furthermore, the overall outlook of the film helps to emphasize the hyper-competitiveness within country and emphasizes the idea of desperation and willingness to climb up the social hierarchy. Bong emphasizes the idea of selfish competitiveness through the Kim's social classing. This competitiveness was shown when Ki-taek stabbed Mr. Park. The brutality of Ki-taek's actions demonstrates his true qualities and how he resorts to murder in order to maintain his own safety. Bong consistently criticizes the societal structure of South Korea by exhibiting how having a low social status can impact people's sense of optimism and consequently cause them to become self-absorbed. In Parasite, Bong conveys the generosity of the higher class through the dialogue and relationship of Mrs. Park and her dogs. Bong portrays the idea that it is easy to be generous for the Park family compared to the Kims due to the different positions within the social hierarchy and consequently the alteration in societal pressures. The connection between Mrs. Park and her dogs is first portrayed through the high-angle close shot as the dogs fill the frame, symbolizing the important role the dogs play within her life and how they give her life meaning. Additionally, when Mrs. Park said, "Zuni, Berry, Fufu," Zuni and Berry gets this, right, and for Fufu, Kana Kaboko. This obscure use of dialogue builds the quotistic nature of how these dogs are treated better than most lower-class people. The use of irony impacts societal norms as people are typically regarded as being superior to dogs. This relationship illustrates how the Park's wealth allows them to be generous to these dogs. However, if they were not in this position of power, they would not be able to pertain the same generosity. Nevertheless, when high within the social hierarchy, it's significantly easier to be kind due to the resources accessible and the lack of external pressure faced by higher class families such as the Parks. Bong demonstrates the explicit relationship between wealth and generosity when Chung-suk describes Mrs. Park's insincere kindness. She's nice because she's rich. During this sequence, Bong employs a close-up and eye-level shot, further demonstrating this key thematic concern. This quote relates to the idea of kindness is easy when of high social class, consequently downplaying the generosity shown by Mrs. Park throughout the film. Overall, the dialogue and relationship of Mrs. Park and her dogs emphasizes the lack of external pressure felt by higher class, which consequently makes it easier to be generous. Bong uses the Kim selfishness to portray the current societal pressure on the lower class, exemplifying how this collective burden builds tension, causing conflict between proletarians. Bong's employment of a high-angle and wide shot when the worker is spraying bug spray encourages the audience to feel sympathetic for the Kim family. The wide shot emphasizes that the Kims live in an extremely underdeveloped neighborhood and therefore conveys that they are underappreciated. The aerial viewpoint again illustrates compassion, as the family is shown to be separated from the upper classes, hinting to the audience how they are of little value to society. Chung-suk saying, "You've got some nerve, I'm calling the police," to Moon, whilst the low angle and close-up shot are present, accentuates to the audience how powerful she is within this situation. Moon's position on her knees illustrates how vulnerable she is and adds to the idea of societal pressures as it demonstrates the conflict between the lower class people. Overall, the main idea conveyed from this quote is to highlight the conflict between the lower classes whilst also expressing the egocentrism of the Kims as they are willing to jeopardize someone's life just to maintain their position within the social hierarchy. Bong has demonstrated the key issues with South Korea's societal structure and how this has caused the lower class to become self-centered and the rich easily manipulated. Lower class individuals have developed excessive narcissism as a result of their lack of respect and admiration. Overall, the message conveyed by Bong is that social separation between the lower and high classes builds negative societal pressures. This pressure causes the lower class to become very self-centered, egotistical people due to their desperation to climb the societal ladder.